of our mid-season grades for the teams here. And this will be fairly quick fire, but it's like we're back to school here. We're going to alphabetically grade the teams here from A to F, let's say, in terms of what we've made of their season so far. So we're going to go in championship order of how it stands at the minute. And I think this is going to be a pretty easy one so far. We've got McLaren first up, who are obviously dominating the season, 559 points now, and are going to win the Constructors. I think we can probably say this is an A+, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely an A plus. If you got the right machine, everything just goes easier. You don't really need to think about complicated strategies. You can argue that they lost a win in Japan, they lost a pole here and there, but they get the job done. Like they already leading the constructors that like this much. You really can't even ask a bit more than that.
Yes, absolutely. And, with two drivers in maybe not their prime, but they're definitely not far off that. Yeah, they are an A+. What about Ferrari? It's kind of weird to think that they're second in the constructors, considering how much of an up and down season they've had. But this is quite a tricky one, actually. What would you grade them?
I would say Ferrari is a B minus.
Okay.
B minus, yes. Especially when you compare them to last year, they're really not off the pace with McLaren's all the Red Bulls. They are really like three teams are really close, but I feel like this year only McLaren have took a big step forward, and everyone else maybe Ferrari have like progressed a little bit, but it's just not enough for them. And also, I don't think the Garrett. There are too many like little tiny mistakes. They like good at Ferrari mistakes, slow pit stops, something like that. These still hurting them. But in the end, it's still the problem of the car. It's just you don't if you don't have a car which is fast enough, these things will eventually definitely happen.
Okay, okay. I hear what you're saying. I'm actually going to go with a C because I think they, in another season where Red Bull and Mercedes have basically got two cars that are scoring regular points, they are comfortably the fourth best this season, and I think they're a bit fortunate in some ways that they are where they are in the constructors, and it kind of should be worse. But that's why I'm not giving them any lower than that. But I think a C for Ferrari with their season so far. What about Mercedes? Again, what I was saying there, they're a bit of a one-man team at the minute with the way Kimi is performing, but they have had some great results this season. If you think of Canada, where they got that win and obviously a double podium, but then they've kind of fell off a little bit recently. So where are we thinking for them? What are we agreeing Mercedes?
I'm going to put a C plus for Mercedes.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so obviously Mercedes is in his patterns is only good in either tracks that really low temps. So and if the road is really rough, they perform extremely well in this kind of conditions. But other than that, it's still just at Mercedes. The team is still like performing the strategy well, the pit stop well, everything else. Basically, Kimi is like in his rookie year, he's still adapting, which is well, to be honest, fine for me. Or it's still a transition year for Mercedes. Everything is changing. Last year, the regulations. It's just a normal transition year for me, but and everything was like went into play. Just the car isn't fast enough. It's a
Okay.
bit like it's a bit like 2007 Renault, if
Really?
you can say that. Yeah,
That is a niche pick. I mean, not everyone will understand that reference, but I get what you mean though, JP.
yeah. It just low, but everything else just runs into orders. We can also like that. Yeah, physically isn't really fast enough. But he's consistent enough. He can score points. He get the team big results. Hecky is still a new driver who can learn from his teammate. Everything is still looking going the right direction.
Yeah, I must say George has been. This is probably his best year in F1. I would say. I mean,
Yeah,
I think he's been super good in terms of being, not being able to compete with McLaren at a lot of races because he just can't. But he's getting the max out of what he can do, and yeah, he's maybe not had too many exciting races apart from Canada, but he's always got that maximum result, and that's why he's fought for the drivers. And yeah, he has carried that team, and I still think Mercedes could actually finish second in the constructors this season because I think of how well George is driving. They just need Kimi to kind of get through this rough patch and kind of just get back into the proper points very, very soon. Next up is Red Bull. Now, Red Bull, they've won a couple of races this season with Max, have 4 pole positions as well, and some unbelievable laps for Max as well at Japan and Saudi and Silverstone as well. Actually, that's another one that was incredible. But as a team, they have had a bit of a rough season, haven't they? I mean, that's an understatement in some sense. With the whole Christian Horner thing recently, that's not to do with obviously performance in terms of that doesn't change too much in terms of our grade, but they had the driver swap at the beginning with Lawson getting booted out after only a couple of races, Yuki going in, and then just more of the same, really. What would you grade them? I think it's not been too good, has it?
Let's say for Red Bull, now I'm gonna be fast. This is probably a D minus.
Okay, okay, yeah, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, yeah. First of all, the strategy isn't as good as before. You can definitely say that it's often pitting to the wrong window, didn't get timing right. Also, a slow pit stop like in Japan nearly cost Max the win in the 3 second pit stop. Also, the problem is mainly on the car. I usually call it the Red Bull. I got a theory. I call it the Red Bull paradox. If you got a car, which is, let's say, car A is faster than car B, but 19% of the drivers can perform sense performance of the car B, but only percent of the drivers can perform 19% of the car A. Which car is faster? You can't really say that. You can't really say which one is faster. That's the problem with Red Bull. I'm not from this point. I'm still not quite sure what how fast that RB21 is because you see in some tracks I don't really think it's that bad because I don't really think you can overdrive a car's aerodynamic and mechanical limits. You only can perform on the limit. Max is good at on the limit. Maybe the car is hard to drive, but it's still fast in some term of environments. But you just have it's such a small window, which is basically undrivable for anyone else. So you, I feel like, but as what most engineers says, a faster, the theoretically faster car is always the car that is harder to drive. So that makes the Rebel car even more foreshadowing. So you can't really say it's particularly slow. Like it's slow in Hungary, it's slow in Monaco, it's slow in some certain type of tracks, but in some tracks, yeah, you can Max is on poles. I know Max is a great driver, but really can't say that Rebel is the car that is fourth fastest that we can. You can't say that. So it's pretty mystery right now.
Yeah, I think that's the key word there. It is a mystery. It's so hard to tell what car it's going to be, by the weekend, really. And it's I feel a lot of it is just it's Max having to just grab the bull by the horns, literally, with the Red Bull, and somehow find the pace out of that car, just unlock the potential with the perfect lap, and maybe fight the difficulties that come with the car. And he's clearly able to do that, like you say, at tracks like Silverstone, Suzuka, etc., where he's been able to get the one lap pace out of it. But yeah, I think for Red Bull, Max is obviously staying there now for the future. For now, but it's not looking great, is it? It's not looking great, and there's not too much to get excited about there. And for Yuki as well, I mean, The fact that he's actually the worst of the all of the Red Bull drivers when you include RB at the minute in terms of results and performances, it's just not looking great. So I have to agree with a D minus. What about Williams next up? They are the best of the rest at the minute. They're sitting fifth on 70 points, 18 points ahead of Aston Martin, 19 ahead of Kick Sauber. So Williams at the minute, they are sitting well, and I actually think a lot of this is to do with the good form of Alex Albon. I think he's had a great season so far and has really carried that team when Carlos has been still trying to get used to it. And I'm going to go with a B. Well, I'll just go with a B for Williams. I was going to go with a B plus, but I'm going to settle with a B at the minute. What do you think, JP?
Yeah, definitely agree on that. Williams do what they can do and knows what they can't do. Remember at the beginning of the year, James Vowles had the interview. He said it's the only chance that we can try everything out. He said he had quote like let's smash everything, anything. And I feel like they got the right momentum, they got the right mindset into the team. You got Carlos in the teams. Maybe he is still trying to adapt it, but everyone is still like helping him into this environment. Alex already the team leader of this team, performing really well. Like the also the other, we always know that Williams that they won't bring from the beginning of the year. We know they won't bring too many upgrades, but now the minute we can still see them, we definitely can see them frequently into the point area.
Yeah, yeah, and it's crazy to think it wasn't that long ago when Williams were the worst car on the grid, and here we are now, fifth, and only getting better. I mean, yeah, great work from them, and hopefully for their sake it continues, and they can kind of solidify that position for the rest of the season. Aston Martin, we kind of touched on them already a little bit on this podcast, but they are kind of it's a little bit tricky to say them because they've obviously had that jump up in performance in Hungary. But I'm going to give them a C because I think it's just okay. Maybe actually a C minus. I'll go with that because they've been okay, but now they're kind of getting a little bit better. Would you go with a C minus, JP, or have they been worse than that?
A bit lower than that. If you like you take a Hungary, I will go with a E actually.
An
So
E. Oh,
real yeah, without
ouch.
Hungary it's definitely an E for me. Yeah. You you I know Lance deliver point like at the beginning of the year, but to be honest, these points are more we can all agree on that. It's more about luck than pure of the car. All the team delivers, all the right strategy. So yeah,
Wow.
um,
Wow.
yeah,
Well, ruthless from you, JP. E. I think
yeah.
that's quite harsh. But you're entitled to your
But
opinion.
but after Hungary, like we can say it's a D plus. We can definitely see with the upgrades, they are still like trying to find something in the car, trying to do what they can do. Over the course of the year, over the course of the season, they're not really quite giving up right now. So yeah, I think they are still working on it. Alonso maybe a little bit slower than before, but everyone is still like got the motivation back. Even like and Lance is a kind of a bit complaining guy sometimes, but everyone is like hardworking and still like trying to pull this off. Yeah.
Okay, okay. What about Sauber? Now, what would you grade them? Because they didn't have the greatest start of the season and they were bottom of the standings. But then suddenly, after Spain and the upgrades that they brought, they just transformed. And Nico Hulkenberg getting that incredible podium at Silverstone, and then Gabby Bortoletto as well getting a bunch of points recently. They now are up into seventh in the standings, not far off Williams, like I say, in fifth. What would you grade them? Because they're really they've compared to the previous couple of years, they have took a massive turnaround.
Yeah, I'll give them B plus. I think
Mm.
it's not a B just because it's the first a little bit half of the season because they're really slow at that time. I mean, it's definitely the slowest car on the grid. Right now, after all the upgrades, I think they have scored points every race since Spain. Um, and they think quite got the pace. Also, I think the Salvers nowadays they are really good at like long things. They don't really make the tire degradation look too bad. I don't know if it's more about the drivers or about the car, but it looks good on their green car. Um, Other than that, it's a really healthy combination between Nico Hulkenberg and Gabriel Bortoleto. Young and old, looking out for each other, driving. It's like Sonny Hayden and then his teammate, right? Yeah, and the magic podium we talk about. It's just like the movie. We at the beginning of the season we definitely won't believe Nico Hulkenberg will end his podium streak in a Green Sauber in that car, which is so terribly slow at that time.
Yeah, no, I think they've been one of the stories of the season how they've turned things around so far. So I absolutely agree with a B plus for Sauber because they are on a serious good run of form. A few teams left. We've got RB or V Carb or Racing Bulls, whichever one you want to go for. They started off quite well. But then they've kind of now fallen off a little bit recently. Even Isaac Hadger has not quite had the best run of form since Liam Lawson has kind of more been the regular point scorer. But obviously, Isaac Hadger really started well at the beginning of the season. So, again, maybe a tricky team to grade. I'm kind of thinking more of like a C for RB. But what are you kind of thinking, JP?
C minus for RB. That minus is mainly for their strategy team.
Yes,
Their
yes.
strategy team is really, really costing them loads chunk of points. Like in
Mm,
China, maybe they can even get a let's say a double point and they end up with 0 points. So it's
mm.
I think at one point they're like P6, P7, and they finish like P14, P15. So that's unacceptable. That's absolutely unacceptable, especially for midfield team. You have to grab those points if you see them. You have to grab those. Otherwise, you just lose you just lose too much points, and just even if you have a slightly faster car than others, it just doesn't pay off.
Yeah, I think so. You kind of forget about that at the start, where yeah, there was points just kind of getting chucked away really by them, so they could have been even closer in that fight for fifth. But yeah, I'd agree with the points you made there that they have been good, but they could have been better. So what about Haas? They are a little bit further back in ninth, and well, down on 35 points. Ocon had some great results towards the beginning of the season, didn't he, JP? And then Behrman, he's been a bit unlucky, hasn't he? He's had a hell of a lot of 11th place finishes, and then, he's had some rough races as well. So, Haas, I think they're still in the mix, aren't they, for fifth? But they are really, the weaker one at the minute.
Yeah, the problem with that is both driver can deliver, but only one driver will deliver each time. That's their
Mm.
problem right now. Um, from my opinion, Esteban is a really, really, really fast driver. Even like even maybe let's say in his really good days, he can beat Lando, he can be up there with Shaw. Um, it's just unlucky, It's just unlucky. Like Behrman's crashing, Silverstone in FP2. He should have making the Q3, but got that 10 great penalty, which is fairly well. I will really say unlucky because of the red flag. Um, yeah, but just two driver has pace. They don't have the luck. The well, strategy is pretty mediocre for Haas. It's just normal. Basically, everything is pretty normal. It's just lack of luck. Yeah, basically lack of luck. I don't think really anything out there like.
What are we going to grade them then, JP? What are we gonna commit to here?
Let's say D plus because I don't think they as a team perform better than RB.
Okay, I think I'm going to go with D minus for them. Very close to what you said, but yeah, kind of what you were saying there as well. They've kind of thrown away a lot this season, and apart from the odd great result at the beginning, like in China, they've got a lot of work to do. They want to catch the others. And lastly, if you think Haas have been underperforming, Alpine are bottom of the constructors, and they've had a dismal season. Pierre Gasly, for them, has been the only one really scoring anything, because obviously they had Jack Doohan at the start, which didn't work. Franco Colapinto came in, and it hasn't worked. And it's all looking fairly doom and gloom. Are they certain to be rock bottom of the standings this season?
Well, if nothing like last year Brazil Grand Prix happened,
Yeah,
they are definitely stunned at last, to be honest. For Alpine, I will give them E minus. It's
yeah,
it's it's still at the E because only because Pierre's still in that team performing. If it took out Pierre, it's the F minus. You can even say that.
sure.
It's rough. Yeah, it's rough for Alpine. They kind of like growing to that rebel pattern. You change the second drive all the time, and they still can't build up confidence. Then you sack them, and you got another one. Maybe next time, you don't know who if they get rid of Franco. Maybe Paul Aaron, maybe somebody else. But you have to let the driver build the confidence, build the connection towards the car. Afterwards, if they don't perform, well, that's fine. You you change them, but you have to let them have that connection, have that feeling first. Otherwise, it's just not working, and it's unhealthy. Not only to the senior team, but also to the junior academy team. So it's just an unhealthy pattern. Also, I don't really think the presence of Flavio into that team really helped them because, as we all know, Flavio is a pretty well, I can't think of a milder way to say dictating man.
Yes,
He
that's for
likes,
sure.
yeah, he is a he's a very demanding man who like all the power into his hand, and we have already seen like change of team principles at the beginning of the season. Um, Well, I think it just increased that unhealthy, toxic environment in Anston, and he is absolutely desperate to drag the team out of that mud, but it just seemed not working at this time. Also, they're canceling the engine program at the end of the year, going to Mercedes. Maybe a right move, maybe a wrong move, but to be honest, for me, if they go to Mercedes, I don't think they will end well. Yeah,
Yeah, Alpine, they are. Yeah, it's looking a bit of a disaster, isn't it? They need something
yeah.
to just transform their season. And so, yeah, I agree with an E minus for them. It's been pretty disastrous, and I can't see why they would beat any of the other teams this season in the constructors. I think all the other teams have got better lineups and a better car, and yes, it's not looking good at all for them. And yeah, more woes to come. Right, that is our mid-season grades done, and this is going to be that for this week's podcast. But thank you, JP, and we'll see you all in the next one.